So you have this help Canadian seniors. I want to know how.
The biggest thing probably that I'm talking about now is when, do you know what palliative care is? That's end of life. Let me go here. Probably right now, the biggest thing that I'm talking about in my platform, and it's not just for seniors, but seniors disproportionately, is what's known as palliative care. That's end of life care. In Canada currently, only about 1 in 3 Canadians has adequate care at the end of their life. That needs to change. It's one of the reasons why the courts put in assisted suicide euthanasia. So that is one of the things that I'm talking about in my platform. Helping people at the end of life, giving them assistance in that way. Again, I like to say I don't like to spend money, but this is something we absolutely need to spend money on. Because our seniors and also other people who are dying are not having enough care put into them currently. They're not getting the proper pain medication, they're not getting the proper assistance at the end of life. So of all the things I'm talking about, that would probably be the biggest thing that, of all the ones that I'm doing. So there's other smaller details, but that would be the big one that covers the national scope. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
I have another. How you think you can push back the homosexual agenda and the marijuana legalization of marijuana?
How am I going to push back the homosexual agenda, marijuana legalization, things like that? First of all, marijuana, it's not legal yet. And I think the thing that if I become conservative leader, we will fight it every step of the way that as far as we can in the House of Commons. It is very complicated to try to change this because Canada is tied into international treaties. They have to figure out a way how to do testing for people who are driving while smoking marijuana, high on marijuana. They have to do things for the corporations and the companies. They're a year and a half in and they haven't put any legislation for the House of Commons. So I'm not sure if they could actually pass it. So we'll see. So what I would say is we would fight it every step of the way, and it's very possible the next election may come without it being legal. When it comes to things like, you use the term the homosexual agenda, my first priority would be this: protecting the rights of people like you, like me, who share the traditional Canadian historic moral values to live our lives, to educate our children, to tell our own values what we want. And let me give some things. We all know about children being taught things in school that we find that's wrong and immoral, but that is now the government views as part of their version of toleration. So that's why I have the Parental Bill of Rights. But I'd also protect people such as civil servants who are being told you're intolerant, you have to go to these education classes to understand your view of tolerance and stuff. All that needs to be taken out. So I would roll that back and I would permit churches and other groups to continue to, the world would say discriminate, but I would say live out their own faith values and lives. You may have heard that the university, Trinity Western University, they were establishing a law school and they had to go to court because under their rules, unless you're married, you can't have sex as a student, okay? You have to be married to someone of the opposite gender. The courts ruled in their favor currently. They will probably have laws in place in a few years to reverse that. So I would take out a lot of what's known as the Human Rights Commissions, and that would solve all the problems. Because we're currently losing our rights and values, not often through civil law or criminal law, but it's through these independent Human Rights Commissions. We passed the bill known as C-16 in the House of Commons. It was saying that if you even speak out and use the wrong pronouns for someone who's transgender, you're engaging in hate speech. That's one of the things. Now, it's not fully into law yet, it's in the Senate. So I would just scrap all that. It's very simple. Again, most Canadians, that's not their interest, and you just need a leader with the ability to push back. And that's what I would do. Okay, her first. She hasn't had a question.
Thank you so much for this afternoon. And this is my first time to participate in a meeting like this, and I'm not a member for any party yet. So in Chinese, 真是小白. Okay, so I don't know if my question is good to answer, or if you feel uncomfortable, you can refuse. Okay?
I'm a politician, I've answered everything.
Okay. Let me describe a little bit background. Okay, I'm a mother of 2 kids. I live in Laval. And one of my neighbor, and she has a son which in grade 7, in like in first year of secondary school. It's in Laval International School. It's the best public school in Laval. But he told me a saying very sad, very upset, because in the class, like half of the kids, they are Muslims. We don't want to talk about them. But even the mother, she don't have any religion, but she also can feel upset or a little bit strengthened, you understand? Because when the like dinner time, the Muslims go to fasting, and maybe he's worried about influence his son. So you understand the background a little bit. I know you are not a demographer, you are economics. My question is like for next generation, and you know what happened now in Europe, what happened and what happened in American. So if you have any policy or something you want to balance the people structure, or how do you regard Donald Trump's policy?
Yeah.
My guess is you're asking the question, how do I regard Donald Trump's policy for America? I'm assuming as far as immigration policy. That would be my guess, okay?
Yeah, and how do you think that they can open the border for illegal immigrants
Yeah, no.
from America? How did you think about it?
Well, what I said when that person came over is we need to protect our southern borders. And if the Americans keep shipping illegal immigrants over, we're going to build a wall and make the United States pay for it. In all seriousness, let me give you a bit of a framework about when immigration works and when it doesn't. Immigration works when you have the ability to integrate linguistically because you need to know what's going on into your society. So that's something that, again, my mother-in-law, she doesn't speak English. It's very difficult for her, but we're working on it. She'll never get fluent, but it's one of the things that's important. So you need to have a willingness and an ability to integrate linguistically. In Canada, that's English or French. Second, immigrants need to be able to be supportive of the current, what we would call civic order. It means you come into Canada, you support the democratic ideas, the rule of law, the general concept, and general culture. You're not looking to do a major overhaul to culture. Doesn't mean you can't bring what you have. Look, my family's Eastern Europeans, most of Saskatchewan is. Food's changed, very different than what the British had. And then the third thing you need is you also need economic opportunity. The country needs economic opportunity to absorb the people, and the people coming in need economic opportunity to fully integrate and make a good life. So it works. So those three things are different. I think where a lot of the problem came in Europe was that those three criteria were not met. Okay? What you have in Europe is you have a lot of ghettos where people didn't linguistically integrate. You then had people who came and they were only coming for a short period of time and they weren't interested in backing the basic civic culture. And then you had a lack of economic opportunity. So you've got people who don't know how to speak with their neighbors, they don't share the overall same fundamental values, and they're struggling economically, so they're resentful. Okay, and I've just basically ticked off the three problems that describe a lot of the problems in the immigrant communities in Europe. Okay? Think about the reverse of the Canadian situation. We have almost everyone learns English by, if not the first generation, then the second, or French here in Quebec. People support, and often you'll find stronger support for things like the monarchy and our democratic system. I know on July 1st, Canada Day in Saskatchewan, new Canadians turned out at bigger rates than native-born Canadians. So you see, our immigration experience is way different than the Europeans on those two things. And again, to the gentleman back there question about why you raise immigration when you have low unemployment and drop it when you have high unemployment, you always want to make sure the economic opportunity is there. I think some of the tension is coming with some of the Muslim immigrants to Canada. and not Muslim immigrants from everywhere in the world, but from certain portions of the world. Because for two reasons. One, they're not integrating as aggressively linguistically, so that's probably a minor problem. But second, they're not always coming to, the perception is that they're not here to support the current civic order, the overall system. The way I summarize is there's two types of immigrants to Canada. The ones who choose Canada, because they want to live there, and this is their country, they love Canada, and the ones who use Canada. The ones who view it as sort of a temporary pit stop until the problems back home get settled, and then they're back and forth, okay? And I know in the Chinese community, there's people who fit into both categories. And there's other parts of the world, Muslims who fit into both categories. Look, we want more of people who choose Canada. They want to come, they want to integrate, they want to contribute. It works better for them, it works better for us. If you only want to use the country, okay, you're going to have to face some more restrictions, and you got to understand we don't want you as much, okay? And I understand some people, I work with people who were pretty blunt about this. They only want to get a citizenship here, so in case something happened back home, okay? I understand that. When I'm done with my political career, I think it would be awesome to go live in some other countries of the world and see it. However, I could see these countries might say, hey, you only want to live here for 4 years, you're not getting priority over the people who come. And that's the overall problem. So what we need to do, and this doesn't just apply to Muslim immigrants, this applies across the board, but particularly we're discussing this often because of issues with Islam, we need to do things to make sure the Muslim immigrants who do come to Canada are ones who support the general civic background of the country and want to integrate. So for them, it's no different than anywhere else. And you know what? The ones who do tend to have the same opinions as people in this room. Remember, on the M103 motion, there was a Muslim member of parliament who voted against it. Not for it, against it. Now, he's a conservative, and so that's one thing you have to understand. It's not an us versus them as far as your religious background. It's people who want to participate in Canada or those who want to isolate themselves in Canada. And that's what you've got to understand. Okay. Okay, you get one last quick question, not because we don't like you, but because everyone else wants to ask too.
You know, a lot of Chinese people, they're not very active in the voting and election. I remember last year, it's only 20% of candidates voted that. So do you have any plan that get more Chinese people getting involved into voting for you and supporting you? And that you have some enough strong teams that support the party?
I regret
This is, the question was, there's not, Chinese don't tend to vote at very high levels. That's actually true. One of my colleagues in Mississauga, he said when he was door knocking, asking people to vote for him, and it was a Chinese household, he said if the door opened and they wanted to talk to them, he knew immediately what their background was and what the issue was. Because he said if they were Chinese and interested in politics, 99% of the time they were Christian Chinese and they wanted to talk about family values. Otherwise, they tended to stay away from it. Now, there are 2 seats in Canada that are majority ethnic Chinese, and they both have conservative members of parliament. So, as a conservative, I want more Chinese Canadians voting, very simply, because we win those seats disproportionately. In this leadership race, we've only got 2 days left to sign up, so I'm trying to sign up as many people as possible. But it is one of the things we've been working on for years, is specific outreach and using language for people who don't speak English fluently. So we've done that for years. We've been more successful with the Cantonese-speaking population than the Mandarin-speaking population. But there's specific programs the Conservative Party has done. And if I'm elected leader, I will double down on those. Because Chinese-speaking Canadians, Filipino-speaking Canadians are disproportionately conservative, and we need to go after them and get them more. The more Chinese Canadians that vote, the better it is for me and my party. So yeah, we're going very aggressive to try and get as many of them as possible to vote. Okay, over there first, and then to you.
I just have a question for this paper. Because before you came here, I got this paper and I saw your priority is to do something for family. So I just want to know what's your concrete plan to do something for family? And you say a lot and mention again and again the fundamental is family value. If I understand correctly, most of us here, Chinese here, are Christians. We support one man, one woman, one family. This is our value. I know that this is Chinese value. But now it seems a lot of things change and they are already being destroyed, these basic values. So just want to know what's your concrete plan to do?
Okay, before people go,
We support you. We just
Uh,
have